is the end for none of us. Wishful thinking, Batman. No! I appreciate what you did. I do. But this doesn't change anything between us. You're still a vigilante, you're breaking the law, and it's my job to uphold the law. Hello, Harvey. My congratulations to you both on surviving a most horrendous ordeal. I'd say a celebration is in order, but I imagine that man is consumed and torturing himself over Deathstroke's demise. Poor Batman. Don't be too hard on yourself. You were saying something about upholding the law.
District Attorney Harvey Dent is safe today after a harrowing standoff on the Gotham SkyTram. Batman hitched a ride with the Skywatch news team to access the SkyTram undetected and rescue Dent. An official has denounced Batman as a criminal.
I protect all the citizens of Gotham, no matter how misguided they may be.
Misguided or not, Dent is reviving his anti-hero agenda in the wake of the crisis and enjoying a pole bump as Gotham's mayoral race ramps up.
I hesitate to use the word hero when describing myself, but if it hadn't been for me putting my life in danger for the city, Deathstroke's true nature might never have been uncovered.
District Attorney Dent, weren't you the one who hired Deathstroke?
We're out of time. No more questions.
She told Batman it was off the record.
And you believed her? See, that's why you need me back out there with you.
Deathstroke chose his fate. There's nothing else Batman could have done. I know, Alfred. Batman isn't to blame.
What level should I put that at? 6?
Sorry, folks. Train's out of service. Everybody on! Come and get me, Batman.
Killer Croc, you're asking for trouble. The
I'll talk to you at school.
Archfiendish staff. What's your thoughts, people? I would like to hear them. We're watching Beware the Batman at the same time as doing all this.
Previously, on Beware the Batman. Why do you think I brought the Great Dane Winslow, head of my special crimes unit, to Harvey Dent, Gotham's next mayor? You're backing me? Yeah. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. When I was a boy, we used to eat our dinner on an old door propped up between two chairs. My father, who worked 2 jobs, never dared dream that one day his son Harvey could be mayor of Gotham City. Well, Dad, your son Harvey is about to make that never dared dream come true.
Absorb. Shut
last week, he said his family ate off an ironing board.
Whatever gets the votes. I was wondering where you were.
Working the crowd. Gotta keep our boys safe.
We still on for sailing this weekend?
Actually, I have a favor to ask. Would it be okay if I brought my son Glenn? He keeps bugging me to meet you.
Sure, but I thought he was in Bloodhaven with your ex-wife. You're wondering how I know that.
No, I assumed you'd run a background on me. Smart. Kid means the world to me. Since, well, I mentioned we were friends.
Absolutely. I'll even let him steer. How's it looking out there?
I don't know what's worse. A hot air coming out of Dent, or the BO coming off this crowd.
Think he's gonna win?
Since Grange officially stepped down, probably yes. Stay here. I need to make sure my guys aren't on a donut break.
A donut break. The most cop thing I've ever heard.
I do want to bring someone out here who has believed in me from the start. Gotham's very own son and my best friend in the world, Mr. Bruce Wayne.
Thank you, Harvey. My father, Thomas Wayne, believed in strong leadership. He believed that in their hearts, people were basically good, but that the challenges of life can take their toll. Debt, unemployment,
Batman,
Gotham has
what are you doing here?
Vigilantes such as Batman. They have the answer. Meet fist with fist. Mayor Harvey Dent will
Absorption
continue work
of-
District Attorney Harvey Dent began, bringing Batman to justice once and for
Someone stole the bat suit.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
Absorption of... I need to change this anyway. Let's draw on some anime. Yes, watching Japanese.
仕事の後の一っ風呂は癒されるわね。はい、温泉って素晴らしいじゃん。温泉旅館を作った魔王様は偉大よさ。 あいつをここに連れてきた聖女たる私よ。私のおかげで今ここに温泉があるの。ハユさ、ルナ様のおかげで私たちとっても幸せだぴょん。そうよ、私の力なんだから。みんなが幸せなのは、もしこの力が子供の頃からあったら。お、あいつも生きてたかな。イーグル。
What the? Stupid fucking. Ah. Hey, Greg, could you come in here real quick? I'm just trying to see if that works. If not, I can change it. Talk to my brother-in-law. Apparently my brother is in the hospital right now, so...
Oh, really?
They had to rush him into surgery for his tumors because they were getting too big. The ones that were on his pancreas came back.
I mean, it looks good.
I feel like I'm missing something because you've seen all the other ones. They have enormous abilities that could end the world if anything. You know, like I put summon a fiend because at level 10 that would be impressive, right?
Right.
But summoning an archfiend at level 20 would be even more impressive at that point, right? And now that we are reversing time again, he brought up the fact that since you're the only one who's been through the timeline so many damn times, that's seen it all, pretty much.
I mean, yeah, I'm 3 timelines at this point almost.
Like 6 at this point, if I remember correctly.
Right.
But he's like, that would drive anyone insane, right?
Right.
He's like, why don't you decrease his wisdom a little bit, just so your wisdom,
right?
Because of the fact that you are trying to explain to everyone the timeline shenanigans, like
right.
Keeping everyone in line and trying not to make the whole thing go kaplooey.
I mean, yeah, basically.
But my brother-in-law is going to be checking over the inventories, like the ones that I made, because he's like, you're giving them level 20 stats by at level 2.
I mean, yeah, basically.
I'm like, yeah, well, it was supposed to be that way because I had made all the monsters' HP over 1,000.
Right.
So, because they were coming off of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And he's like, yeah, that's true, but why don't you have the monster manual? And it's because I'm like, because you never sent it to me? He's like, oh, well, here, that's a good Christmas present. We'll make sure you get it. And I'm like, I don't have the DM's guide, so I didn't have anything to go off of on how to DM the first time around.
Fair enough.
And I brought up how, since everyone's starting new in the campaign, pretty much, like Scotty, freaking Tyler. Oh, I did talk to my former roommates today. They are going to try to come to our D&D session.
Okay.
So, not tonight, but sometime.
Right.
But back on the subject of my brother-in-law, he's like, hey, why did you give him level 20? Like, yeah. I brought up the fact that all the abilities are just so you guys don't die. But I did come up with a new idea for your armor, your Dragon's Blessed armor, and how it combined with the God King's armor. Where is it? Dragon Slayer, true Dragon Slayer. I saw it just a little bit ago. Give me a second. Maybe it's a knight? I don't know. I was looking at one of my Yu-Gi-Oh cards and all of a sudden I came up with an idea. This character right here. You see how his armor is?
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking, now that you've become, well, your armor hasn't leveled up this entire time, right?
Right.
So what if we, now that you're back in the original timeline from the beginning, and you start leveling up your armor at the same time as, or putting the levels that you gain into the armor.
True.
And then, as you level up, your armor spits out a shield. A shield that is the combination of the God King's armor and the Dragon's Blessed armor. Because that would make a lot of sense. But do you think I followed really well with the artwork on this to...
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's the first time I've drawn something like that, so...
I think it turned out pretty good.
But, any other ideas that that my brother-in-law didn't think of? Now that you're going back through the timeline again and trying to convince people that this is what needs to happen before chaos reigns. Because they're gonna think you're all crazy. think you're crazy to begin with, right? Maybe, but you're...
But that also has the potential for some fun time shenanigans of me predicting certain events that are just not necessarily because we did it, but stuff that just happens naturally that I can predict down to like the second.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, okay, you know what? I'll prove it. There's going to be an earthquake at this day at this time. Be wary, such and such town's going to get hit hard. Like, yeah, whatever, dude. That day rolls around, the earthquake hits. Jesus Christ, I already know.
Yeah. That would make it very convincing. Anything else that story-wise, I should think of for D&D? Because this is going to be the Warlock's armor.
Ooh, okay.
Since he can't have the Archfiend's armor because or the Red Mage's armor because it's heavy armor.
Right.
So, any thoughts on that? What I should call it? I was thinking calling it the Mantle of Illusionary Light. or elusive light.
That might not be too bad.
But the ability's been driving me up the wall. I'm working on the staff right now, but the fact of the matter is I do not know what abilities to put on the armor. Well, I'm getting a lot of messages. Not on Twitch, but just notifications from all the apps that I'm on. We need someone who can use a trident at some point.
Oh, yeah?
Because that would be fun. Watching somebody fight with a trident. Or at least a spear.
Let me see the set. That's this one that you're wanting to come up with?
Yep. I know camouflage would be a great one to put on there.
Camouflage would be good. We could have it so the gloves are basically able to summon the user's staff from basically anywhere.
So basically a Mjolnir.
I wasn't necessarily thinking like Mjolnir, more like they could be completely unarmed and then it basically magics into their hand for the cast.
Oh, that would be fun.
But we can also keep that relatively tame by having it work only within a limited range. So they like have to leave it in a certain spot in order to perform.
Or the gloves absorb the staff and then it pops out of their gloves. But they have to do a certain motion.
They can even be like from the hands.
Yep. I need to clean my room.
We can even tie that ability into the cloak by having the cloak basically work as like a bag of holding almost.
Yeah.
They can like, basically the back would be like a fake material that they can stick their hand through and pull whatever they need out.
Cool.
And they can work the opposite way. But the catch is it only works in tandem with the gloves.
Yep.
So no one else can stick their hand in.
Okay. Who should be the original owner of this?
Well, Master of Illusions, of course.
Okay.
Who else to have a bunch of...
The God of Mischief.
That's an idea.
You have yet to meet the God of Mischief. Or we could bring, since you keep traveling back and forth through time, it breaks the world's time in basically summoning forth every god from every timeline.
Oh, that would be a lot of gods to keep track of, though.
But no, they wouldn't, because they would be god Loki and all them, because my god. If you remember from my book, the story starts out in before known history, so supercontinent kind of thing.
True.
And I brought my map right in here, right up here, because I had to take a photo of it. So as you know, this is a big ass fucking continent.
Right.
So think about how all these continents kind of smashed into each other, broke apart, and then they're going to smash back into each other again, right?
Right.
Who's to say the world that we know today, Earth, is just going to, well,
Right.
I don't have to explain it too much, do I? So basically, all we have to do is say, "Hey, oh, could you take that back out there? Sure. Can you go back out?" But all we have to do is say with all the timeline shenanigans and how much he's broken, the previous player just broke the world. You don't know what happened to the timeline after you got sent back. Basically, you were in the middle of the damn quest to stop the world from being destroyed by 2 chaos gods. But
That could be the plot point. The clash happened, and it was so great that it literally shattered the timeline.
shattered everything.
Not even me at that present point, but a me in the past got basically sent back into the shockwave.
Okay.
Which, yeah, it doesn't make sense, but at this point, nothing makes sense with the timeline broken.
Yep.
Which means, obviously, all the gods are going to be in play. Hell, if we wanted to, we can even have the god of mischief be, what was his name? Exodia, before he even got sealed.
Yeah.
How cool would that be? The god of mischief before he actually got sealed away, being the one to give the illusionary gear that would be used way later on against himself. Funny enough.
Fair. Exodia, the god of mischief.
Before he became the god of chaos.
Yes. That would be fun.
And we can even have the plot of his love come into play too.
Yeah.
But
Her basically showing up into this world.
well, yeah, if he showed up before he became the god of chaos, obviously his love should be around there somewhere too.
Well, she was. Remember how I said she was still in the world that he came from, but she disappeared when he returned to his original world.
Oh, I gotcha.
So who's to say she was not summoned to our world, well, and then kept in hiding by the gods
True.
because of the fact of she didn't want to deal with him after he became what he did.
Yeah, harmless jokes got more sinister or more dark. And
Yeah.
eventually she got enough of it and disappeared, and that was enough for the final push for him. I can see it.
I'm at 50 minutes so far on my Twitch stream, and we're just talking about D&D. And it works, right?
Yeah.
Any other ideas, D&D wise? The title of my thing is working on D&D paperwork. You can grab a chair and come in. I'll clean up the clothes that are on the floor. Because it works, so we need to work through all the problems story-wise in order to get to the final point.
Right.
Get all the story details that I couldn't get done with Lucas.
Speaking of details, we can have the Grand Mage have like PTSD from him, even though technically he's never been him before. Someone will do a random spell and he'll instinctively flinch and be like, "Hey, why did you do that?"
Because of the timeline shit.
Exactly.
He starts remembering the Lucas, this character, as he flinches, too. Making it so every time he flinches, because of a certain spell going off,
It literally triggers PTSD flashbacks to remind him of the previous timeline.
Yep.
Little messed up, but I mean,
Basically keeps him on his toes.
right,
Just in case of a return.
right.
I don't think Lucas will ever return to our campaign because of what he did.
Probably not.
Not unless he apologizes for what he did. But, off subject. Off that subject. Any other great ideas? As I'm doing a dirty close pile in my bathroom. Should we start out the camp on the first town exploring the fact that we need to, since you remember the what happened with the first town when you investigated it more.
Heck, I could even technically be the MacGuffin. Either the start of the group is already in a town and I show up, or they're already formed and they're looking into a rumor of a madman ranting about something wrong with time.
Or because, or you just suddenly appear in front of the party right in the High Mage's tower as the timeline fractures.
Oh, like a previous group talking with the High Mage and then I just come in out of nowhere.
Like, the moment in the future, or you, it's not like it's happening right then and there, but you're just suddenly appearing out of thin air from the end of the quest where the clash happened,
Right.
and then you're like, wait, why am I back here?
Yeah, like, that would be interesting because everyone would be confused.
Yep.
Hilarious would be confused as to what he is just back there all of a sudden. And of course, everyone would be like, who the hell is this guy and where did you just magically appear?
And the High Mage is the only one who is aware of you.
Right, because obviously...
Because he sees all of the time because of where he is. If he's outside of his tower, he doesn't see it.
So he should be aware of, like, the moment time fractures, basically.
Yes.
Here's a thought. Would Polarics technically still have his blessings and artifacts?
Yes.
Would that mean that there's technically 2 of each now in the world?
Technically, yeah.
That'd be an interesting way to bring
Because
the gods involved.
the timeline being fractured the way it is causes a multiversal event.
Now, would the gods be aware?
I don't know. That would be a great way. You want to roll the Tyrion and we can talk about it more?
Honestly, I'm fine standing. I like to shift around what I'm thinking.
Well, sorry, I'm just trying to make it so I can be seen on my thing.
That's no problem.
Is walking and talking is hard for me. But
Yeah, that could be an interesting point because to them, if they aren't aware, they're just going to be minding their own business, and suddenly there's going to be a massive spike of holy energy somewhere on the planet.
and that's what summons Dante. Because he remember how Dante was searching for the rest of his kin, and you just
Oh yeah, just a massive burst of holy energy. Of course, he's going to think it's another angel. That makes sense.
Dante shows up to the tower. And then what else? Still have to fight the evil mage because of the timeline resetting. Because of the fracturing.
Right. Damn, we can actually do this key proper this time instead of just vaporizing the thing 10 times over.
Mm-hmm. you still have the box too,
Right.
because it was left in your capable hands during the fight.
Right.
But would the residents inside remember Gunther?
I feel like they wouldn't remember him specifically, just an undefined god that had made them. Just that's their world that they know, and as far as they know, that their god put them there.
Okay.
Until Lance does something, or not Lance, Polaris does something that reminds someone of Gunther.
Yeah. I still have his character sheet in here, so if we ever need to bring him back, but not as Lucas, you know?
Right.
Which reminds me, I have to fill up my water bottles today at some point. But, Race of God is not going to be on the table anymore.
Completely fair.
Because of what he did. Because it gave too much problems to me. For us, actually, for storytelling. Because it was just one-shotting. Almost.
Yeah, I don't think it could have been too bad if he did it properly, but he basically just kind of abused his powers all campaign.
Yep. I also put a level cap on the Alfheim armor on where the light cannon, because if you don't reach level 8, you don't get to use the ability.
Fair enough.
And I'm probably going to change the every short rest to every long rest at some point, with the permission of Chris, because Chris, I found out why he didn't show up for D&D. Apparently he was working at his other job.
Okay.
So we just need to catch him on a day where he's not working.
Fair enough.
But anything else that are missing, story-wise? Like, we still have to holify or get rid of the curse. The curse on the land. Save Santa Claus without killing him. We gotta do it before Christmas, if possible.
Right.
Because I wanted to do it with a Christmas campaign. What else? Story-wise, am I missing? Or I still have notes in here, so not all the notes from very beginning to all the way to now, but let's see.
So the pacts. Obviously, Polaris would remember them, but the dragons wouldn't.
Yes.
But would they still be in play?
We would have to reactivate them.
Okay.
But since you already got the Dragon God too, because the gods aren't affected by the timeline, they are only affected by, because they live outside the normal time stream.
Right.
Let's see. That's another thing we'll have to figure out. Who's going to take claim to the Highfall armor and the Gunsmittle, well, the Sword of Eternal Flame. Or is that your armor? Instantly heals from damage, max health, raises max health on damage, max 600 per encounter, doesn't reset, raises all stats plus 4. Remember that, or?
No, unfortunately not.
We could still put into play later on. We got the Cloak of the Wild King and Hermes armor for the druid, if anyone ever chooses to be a druid. Should we keep Trisha the slime? Like, make the slime island a permanent thing of the world, or because if I recall correctly, the only reason the slime island existed is because Gunther
He made it and literally populated it with slimes.
Yes, but he originally killed off all slimes except for Trisha. Or do we still have to bring Trisha into fruition by doing the same thing he did? Or leave her make her a main staple of the timeline, a slime that took over a barbarian woman's body.
We could, and I'm honestly fine with either.
Should we keep the inventory for Gunther and put it back into the vaults of the High Mage?
That would be a
Including,
bad idea.
but do you want to keep a hold of the Pokeball? Or the Divine Hammer, or the Gravity Hammer?
I don't think I need to keep any of his particular gear.
Okay. So put it back in the vaults, pretty much. Anything that he used basically automatically just goes into the High Mage's vaults.
Right. Unless there's a very specific situation, in which case we need to go and retrieve something. But
Okay. Pandora's box. Should that still exist, or should that?
maybe he created that as just as chaos magic, right?
Yes.
Probably not then.
Okay. Should we leave the Forest of Eternal Dreams like he created? 2. Or should we leave it be? Make it a permanent staple of the map? Because we have the forest around, and the Forest of Dreams around the Elven capital.
Right. We could probably get away with keeping that forest.
Okay. Should we make it so it only affects people trying to attack the tower?
Yeah, that'd probably work.
instead of having it almost kill everyone who goes in and out of the tower.
Right. A similar spell, similar to the towers.
Yeah. Because all the tower needed is a barricade because of keeping the worlds apart, pretty much.
Right.
If you remember how I told the story. Any ideas other than mine?
None more. I've pitched all my ideas.
Okay. Any other rules that we should put into stipulation?
I don't think so. I feel like we've covered the rules pretty effectively.
Anything, any new rule that you've thought of for it? Just nothing.
Like I said, I think it's just about good.
Okay. I think what I'm going to do from now on, when people are going to choose their subclasses, is have them choose them before we give them to them, because of what Lucas did. He didn't choose any, and he just fucking went balls to the wall.
Yeah, basically.
So, what I did is have Chris write down the subclasses that he wanted for his character, which is Alchemic Savant for his Artificer, and his Wizard will be Telepathic.
Okay.
Any other... is that a good rule to have?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. Is there anything for your character we should think of before we start up again?
Again, I feel like I've pitched most of my ideas.
Like, let's go over what we've talked about. We talked about how the wisdom needs to go a little bit down just until everyone stops thinking he's crazy.
His appearance in the timeline, in the fractured timeline, just popping in out of nowhere. Possible time predictions.
Just to prove he's not crazy.
I'm just kind of planning out how certain interactions are going to go, like with the gods and with people that he's been in the past and stuff.
There is one thing, the giant snake. How are we going to deal with that? The Silent Abyss. Because if you remember, we had to deal with him by wiping out the entire ocean. Because of how big the snake is. That's how that river started. To the High Mage's Tower.
Honestly, I'm not sure.
Because
I didn't deal with it the first time. That happened after I joined it.
You joined after. Yeah, I forgot about that. We could still build the nuclear submarine. Right? Or, because we do have a submarine. We do. The box.
True.
Since it came from your timeline.
Right.
How would we deal with that, though? Because originally Lucas was pulling nukes out of his the light cannon out of the suit all the time.
I can think of a few devices, non-nuclear, that I could probably convince the dwarves to craft me.
Yeah.
Like, those rods that are, like, compact until you expand them and then they fully extend?
Yeah.
Think that, but, like, maybe, like, way bigger, and instead of it just being a pole, it's retractable, like, blades that extend out.
Okay.
And it's basically like that. And ideally, we'd get it to eat it before it activates.
Yeah. Instead of launching it out of the ocean and then just destroying the High Mage's tower in the process.
Right.
Because that was not my storytelling. That was his.
Yeah.
But the High Mage remembers it because he sees all of time.
Right.
Because of it where he is in the tower. That's why he has to sit in the tower all the fucking time. Besides holding the barrier between worlds together.
Right.
That's why he couldn't deal with his own brother. Should we do notes every time we finish?
We should try to.
Okay. Anything else we should do? Otherwise, like, make sure everyone knows what their equipment looks like, or
Probably, yeah. But
although my brother-in-law tells me that that's not common for most DMs to do.
oh, like illustrating what the gear looks like.
Yeah. He thinks it's a good idea. Don't get me wrong. It's just
Not something most DMs do.
yep. I'm not gonna have the staff that the warlock's going to use. Just change its name up when he gets to level 10. I'm going to keep it as an Archfiendish staff.
Okay.
Because it works a lot better. And the reason it has the absorption of spells and redirection ability is because read the description of the card. Redirection could even mean you use the spells yourself,
Right.
making them part of your arsenal. I'm going to have you read over Oren's or Chris's inventory real quick. when I'm done with the stream, but mostly so you can tell me if what I gave him was too much or too little.
Okay.
Other than that, I think we're done here, right?
I think so.
I've been on this stream for an hour and 17 minutes. Do you think that's a good stopping point?
I mean, it's not bad. But I don't stream, so I don't know.
Fair. I'm just kind of out of ideas.
Yeah, me too.
Talking about it helped get some of those thoughts out. But yeah. Oh, did Niklas go to work? He said he was going to be working today, so.
Yeah, he's still out.
So he went to work?
I don't know if he's still at work. Apparently, Justin, new guy, said that apparently he was grabbing something to eat, then catching, I think, a show or something, and then heading to a friend's house.
Well, he said he was working today, so it's just. He said it yesterday, but he meant he was going to be working today, so.
Right.
I'm trying to come up with some ideas to do for my YouTube. Any good ideas? Like, I'm thinking doing Shakespeare. But what? I feel like that would be very limited. Because I have no other partners to do some of the other characters.
Right.
Like, I would have to do one character per. Or hit the one character's lines, and that's it. Because doing all the characters is a bit hard.
I don't know, my mind defaults to games.
Yeah. Like, I don't mind gaming and streaming at the same time. At all. It's just internet's been finicky lately.
Right.
When I'm playing a game, it just decides to kick me off at a certain point, and then I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? Half the time I'm trying to make viewers, and I want to have fun, and that's the biggest thing, is I want to have fun with it. But I can't do that if my internet keeps kicking me off.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
So I've been thinking about doing streams while I'm out and about, but doing that is difficult as is because I don't have the setup for it. I don't have cameras and stuff like that.
Right.
And the only thing I have is my phone, and that dies really damn quickly. It's a 3-year-old phone. Charger doesn't want to stay in the charger, and charging port, and whatnot. I've been told to keep a battery pack on myself, just so I can keep it charged while I'm walking. But trying to do a selfie stick is difficult. This has been difficult, because I want to keep my phone in my case while...
Right.
Because I have a terrible time keeping that in my hands. I drop it too many times.
Completely fair.
Thought about getting a GoPro, but trying to find a GoPro that will do viewing backward instead of viewing forward is difficult. unless I do a dual little thing, putting a camera on my back and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't even know who's all watching right now. That's the other thing, is I never know how many people are watching or anything. I would love to see somebody say, "Hey, hi," or something.
Right.
Ask me a question or pitch ideas or something on my streams, and that would be a lot of fun because that's communication with the community as a whole. And I like doing these chattings, but I love to be talking to somebody besides a screen.
Right.
That's why I was trying to talk to you. Because it gives me someone to bounce ideas off of and talk to instead of just sitting here drawing or writing the entire time.
Right.
And I don't know if that was okay with you. I just kind of...
No, that's fine.
I know one of my former roommates likes to play as a Warforge. No idea what that is. Never seen it in any of the books. So... hopefully at some point I can see them and hang out and get their bounce ideas off of them. But that's kind of difficult. Sometimes they don't like to answer their phones, or they're just busy because they live in a different group home.
I gotcha.
But yeah, my co-author to my first book, it works over at that group home.
Oh, cool.
So, C.J. Hobbs. I gave Lucas the book that he gave me, which is called The Machine Lord. I'm going to reorder the book in hardback, but which I would love, you know? Because I would be paying my co-author, pretty much. Well, in royalties mostly, but still. Which would be nice to see my co-author, because then he could help me finish up writing my book.
Right.
Which I've been stuck on for a while now. Because it's dialogue that I have a hard time with.
Right.
Have I ever let you read my book?
I'm not sure.
Well, that's something we could do tonight, too. If you're up for it. One thing I gotta do is kick Lucas off the Discord channel, though. So that way he doesn't throw wrenches into D&D and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. I'm over a lot of stuff lately.
You're distancing yourself from him. There's no problem with that.
Like, he was a good person up for a little while there. I feel like. When I first moved in, he was just fine. Yeah, he pushed boundaries and kind of put me on edge a little bit, but that was at first. And then a whole incident happened. And then I couldn't trust him anymore. You know? Like, I wanted to get through our differences. If I were to make the armor that the red mage is wearing in this, how would I go about doing that? Like, I don't mind drawing it myself, but it's the fact that what he's wearing would be considered heavy armor. And drawing it separately from what the dude is kind of difficult. Like, I barely was able to do this because it's cut off from at the tip right here. And it doesn't look like it's no bigger than him. But we don't know what the true size of that is. And we probably will never get that same artwork again because the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! Died.
Right.
In a tragic accident. Well, he was saving somebody from drowning. But still. It's sad. We will never get a new iteration of Dark Magician Girl because of his death.
Just news behind that one too.
Magic Girl. If you've seen the artwork for that. Well, if you ever look it up, it's basically Dark Magician Girl, but it's a Xyz card. Or, yeah, I think it's Xyz.
Okay.
It was supposed to be an alternate artwork for your Dark Magician Girl. But Konami decided to say, nope, we're going to do it as a new character itself. But because they own the rights to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Right.
Instead of the author, which is weird. Because it should be the author who has the rights to the characters.
Unless the author sold the rights.
Still. But they won't change the artwork from Magic Girl because of his signature being on the card.
I gotcha.
They can't remove his signature. Plus, there are some, like, the pentagram on her chest and
Right.
her brooch, if you will. But there are, I followed Yu-Gi-Oh! Since I was a little kid, and it's one of my favorite games. I just wish I could play it more often on my PlayStation, but because my internet sucks here, I can't play it. I plan to get my Sparklight back up and going, but that's just if I have the money.
Right.
And hopefully I will have that money. Yeah. And just have to wait until I get on idle housing. Any great games that you've been playing lately?
76 with a friend, and I've been juggling a few others, trying to find something to fit my solo groove.
Yeah.
Like trying out another crab's treasure, there's like a Soul's Light, and that one isn't bad. The other is a bit of a learning curve.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then Deep Rock Galactic, which that's like a mission-based cave diving type game. Dwarves and giant bugs and guns.
Yeah. Dennis is supposed to call me today at some point. Let me know it, or tomorrow at least. Today or tomorrow, he's going to call me back and tell me what I can change on those inventories. That way it fits better in the rules of D&D. But I feel like I made a really good set of armor and shit. That's all I care about.
Right.
Like, making you guys powerful, that's my plan. And if it doesn't go with the rules of D&D, oh well. I need you guys to live in order to save the world.
Right.
You being knocked back in time does not help the case. I think what I'm going to say is in the collision between the two Chaos Gods clashing, Gunther dies.
Okay.
You find out through the High Mage, but the only reason you get thrown back in time is because of the God King saving your ass and throwing you back to see if you can stop him one more time.
Right.
God King used all of his power to seal the evil god away again, but it just means you have to restore or keep the world safe for a little while until he restores his own power.
Right.
Even though the God King's all powerful and he doesn't need to heal, it's just his way of saying, I'm done for a little bit, you save the world.
Sounds about right for a god.
You got one more chance to save the world, or else I erase it all. Pretty much. That feels like a good story to go with. But I think I'm gonna get off stream so that way we can go watch some shows and.
Okay.
But I hope you guys had fun and enjoyed our conversation. And if you want some more conversations like that, just hit that follow, and I will try to do more of these. And I will see you later. Bye.